Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to my blind reaction to Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Season 4, Episodes 18 through 21. So yeah, we're finally getting around to the final 4 episodes of Star vs. And I'm going to be honest with you, the reason I've been putting this off for so long is honestly because I've kind of lost a lot of interest in this show. With how Season 4 has gone in terms of quality, the just exceptionally horrible nosedive it's taken, my interest has definitely waned. And don't get me wrong, Season 4 has definitely done some good things, for sure. But there are a couple things I do know happen in these last 4 episodes. I don't know all the context, but there are a couple things I do know that I was spoiled on that actually negates at least one of the good things that this season did. I know that Star and Marco do end up together again. That in the end, they end up as a couple. Which negates the entire Blood Moon Curse thing, which was a phenomenal writing decision. Now, from what I've heard, the creator, Darren Nefsey, was apparently being sent death threats by Starco fans if they basically threatening her if she didn't make Starco canon, and which is a theory as to why all the romantic stuff in this last season was extremely rushed and all over the place. But I haven't actually seen any big confirmations regarding that, so I don't know if that's true. But if it is, it would explain things a lot, like why Marco and Kelly's relationship was completely swept under the rug despite how logical and good it was. Why Star and Tom's relationship ended in a completely stupid, ridiculous, and unsatisfying way. And why, even after the Blood Moon Curse being lifted, Star and Marco still, with absolutely no reason, would get back together. Now, I have said in the past that if Star and Marco did actually form a relationship and they were given time to develop that relationship and make it work, then I'd be fine with it. But Star and Marco having a romantic relationship has never worked in the show, and there's been never anything to give them that legitimate chemistry. And we have 4 episodes left. By this point, it's not possible to give them enough legitimate chemistry to make it work. Even if they tried, it wouldn't be enough. And it's just ridiculous. And the other thing I do know about is that apparently it does end, the series does end with apparently the various dimensions colliding together. Now, I don't know the exact specifics or anything of that. I don't know exactly what is meant by that. I just know that the dimensions collide together. Does that mean everything explodes or something and a new dimension is formed? Does that mean that they all just become one in general and it's this amalgamation of dimensions? How does that work? I don't know all the details. But I hate that I have been spoiled on even those. I don't know where this goes with Eclipse on Globcore. I don't know where it goes with Mina and everything. I don't know about any of that. And I don't another thing is I don't know exactly how the series ends in terms of its final scene and stuff. Unless that is it with the collision of dimensions. Either way, I have been told, though, that I'm probably not going to like it, which isn't necessarily a good sign, but of course, I mean, you never know. I've been told I wouldn't like things before, and I ended up loving them. But yeah, it's just I've lost a lot of interest in this show. It's like it started off good and then started becoming great, but then it just started going downhill. And I just really hope that this finale doesn't completely ruin it for me. Because I just don't want to have this end off on that sour of a note, on that bad of a note. I guess we'll see. I guess we'll see where this goes and hope for the best. Um, well, let's get to it. So when the screen fades to black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow the link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episodes. So that being said, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we will begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So Star versus the Forces of Evil was a groundbreaking was a groundbreaking hit show for Disney that made so many amazing decisions and just really revolutionized cartoons in a lot of ways. And then it went to shit. This finale, this 4-episode finale, which was basically all one continuous thing, was utter garbage. Like, there were a couple things in it that were funny or nice or well handled, sure. But there's so many issues with it that it's just ridiculous. For one, it didn't feel like the ending of a series. It didn't feel like a series finale. And that's one issue that may seem minor to some people, but for me, that's always been a big deal. When you have a season finale versus a series finale, you have to give them the right feel, the right just handling of it to make it feel like, okay, like in the case of a series finale, you have to make it feel like, okay, this is the end. There is nothing more that needs to be done or needs to be said or needs to be handled. Let's compare this to my favorite show of all time, The Legend of Korra. The Legend of Korra's ending, while it could be expanded upon and was able to get some comics that definitely moved forward after the series, it felt like an ending. It felt like this is where all of the 4 seasons had been building towards. This is everything that it needed to be to end off this series. Avatar: The Last Airbender did the same thing. Gravity Falls had a phenomenal ending. This felt like a season finale at best. Mina didn't feel like a good final villain. Moon being revealed as the one who kind of started it all didn't really feel like a great final villain. Mina and Moon were kind of both final villains, and I'll get more to Moon on the end, or well, later on. But they didn't feel like final villains, especially with the fact that Mina survived, which is bullshit. And not only did she survive, she got away scot-free. There was absolutely no consequences for her in the end, other than losing her magical abilities. And she basically even said that it's not over, that the ideals I stand for, the ideals I put forth are still going to be around. Heck, the one servant guy, whose name I cannot think of at the moment, followed her. He stayed by her side. There was no actual conclusion to that. And going back to Moon, the entire thing with her being behind this entire thing, being behind the final attack on Muni, behind just everything, all of these Solarian warriors and shit, is completely out of left field. And not in a good way. See, you can have these big surprise twists that work because there's stuff that built up to it. And some people will try to say, oh, but the villagers in Moon's village always kind of showed this disdain towards monsters and stuff. Yeah, but Moon was always quick to speak out against them whenever they did that, if you didn't notice. Moon was always against that, and she was never like the biggest supporter of monsters, especially compared to Star. But she showed multiple times that she had worked past that, and that she was fine with them at that point. So to make her the main antagonist out of nowhere is so illogical. And honestly, I can understand why people have said that they hate her now. Moon is utterly despisable now. And I know Star forgave her, but that's another issue. Moon's actions are equatable to a terrorist attack. She created these giant magical beings that had so much power that not even Eclipsa could stop them all with her first spell, her evil spell. Not even Eclipsa could stop them all. Nothing could, except destroying the magic, which again I'll get to in a bit. But the concept that Moon can just be forgiven, that Star can just forgive and forget and wave it off like, oh, we make mistakes. Fuck that. There's a difference between making a mistake and becoming a terrorist. What she did is fucking terrorism. And you can try to make the excuse, oh, she didn't know Mina would go that far. That's bullshit. She knows who Mina is. She knows Mina is crazier than anyone else she's met. Moon is not an idiot. Moon has actually been shown to be pretty smart. So the idea, the only way that they could make that work to where she wouldn't know is she would either have to be so fucking dumbed down, it's not funny, which would be just even further bastardization of her character, or she would have to be under some kind of spell or influence or some kind of something that would cause her to completely overlook that or just ignore that fact. There is no reasonable explanation for her to have worked with Mina in the first place. And in the end, her actions were evil. And that's not something you can just forgive and forget. And I feel like they were trying to go with the concept of like, oh, she's Star's mom. Star has to forgive her. Star has to look past it. That is bullshit as well. You do not have to forgive family if they commit evil acts. They even fucking made Eclipsa just suddenly turn around out of nowhere and kind of forgive her mother, Solaria. Before that, she even used her wing to like obscure her from view, but then at the end, like before Solaria and the other queens, I guess spirits or magical influence or whatever, before they disappeared, Eclipsa looks towards her, smiles with tears in her eyes as if she's forgiven her. What the fuck is that? Also, what? And what's the fucking deal with Hekupu? So she's part of the Magic High Commission. They don't like Eclipsa, right? Romulus unleashes Globgor and causes this big trouble and everything and is in prison. But we find out in these episodes, in this finale, that it was all a ruse. And that the Magic High Commission were working with Mina the entire time. and that Romulus was never really in trouble with them. The entire thing with Hecapu and them saying like, "Oh, we don't trust Eclipse either, but we would never go that far." That was just a fucking lie. And then all of a sudden, Hecapu we're just supposed to believe is okay. I'm cool. Just destroy the magic, whatever. And she helps them out and shit. No, no. The destroying the magic concept for the ending, the only way to stop this, was also fucking bullshit. Because it came across as lazy and uninspired. The idea that, like, oh, this series is pretty much all about magic and everything, and the only way to stop the final enemy is to take out just everything this series is about, it is dumb. It feels like it feels like it was a first idea that they just kind of went with, and they didn't want to think of any smarter or more logical idea on how to defeat Mina on them. And again, with what I was going back to before, this with the final scene and everything, with both Muni and Earth colliding and becoming one, which is going to cause a shit ton of problems, by the way, logically. And Star and Marco meeting together, and that's how the episode ends and stuff. The series ends. That is the most fucking unsatisfying ending possible. The dimensions colliding is dumb. There is no real conclusion. It just kind of ended. We don't know what this means for a lot of characters. How does Ponyhead still exist? Ponyhead, I would feel, is like run on magic. And it's like, it's not even just that she exists. Maybe, okay, she can exist, but she can't fly or anything anymore. How can she fucking fly? Are we just supposed to believe that's not magic, that that's never been a magic thing? Because that's bullshit. The way this ended, it felt like it was a season finale, and that like there's supposed to be another season where we're going to see what's going to happen now that the dimensions have merged and everything. It doesn't feel like a series finale. It doesn't feel like it concluded a show. It doesn't feel like the entire series is done. It feels incomplete. Then there's the entire thing with Marco and Star's relationship. As I've said before, Marco and Star had no romantic chemistry. And it was revealed that their entire relationship was built on a lie because of the Blood Moon Curse, which was a phenomenal idea, honestly. It was honestly one of, if not the best thing this final season did. But then to reveal that, no, they actually do have feelings and the curse wasn't actually the cause of it and shit. That they've always had feelings for each other. And to have them end up together in the end is bullshit. It doesn't work. The relationship feels forced and unnatural. There is no proper chemistry there. And the fact that they had to rush through just ending Marco's relationship with Kelly and Star's relationship with Tom really makes it feel fucking dumb. It just feels like, again, like I said in my pre-thoughts, it feels like they were forced to do it under death threats. Like they didn't have a choice. And God, I hope that's the case, because if that's not, and that this was planned and they chose to do this on their own, Oh, that is so fucking dumb and so bad. It's just, it's appalling to see how far a show can dive bomb. After season three, this show was like not just top 10 material for me, but it was pretty damn high up there. And when season four began and stuff, like I was still super hyped, and I was excited and enjoying it still. But as the final season continued, and it just kept getting worse and worse, I kept losing hope. And now that I've finally sat down and watched these final four episodes, I wouldn't put this series in a top 50. This ended in such an unsatisfying, horrible way that it's not funny. And on top of that, it's not just shit in terms of the writing. It's shit in terms of giving actually some pretty terrible lessons. And I go back to the entire moon thing because that's a big one. Oh, let's just forgive and forget your mother, who again became a terrorist and was basically behind what could have been hundreds, if not thousands, if not tens of thousands, or even millions of innocent murders. Well, murders of the innocent. Um, Behind every bad thing that happened in this finale, every negative. Let's just forgive her. No. Like I'm all for forgiveness. I'm all for second chances, and I'm all for all of that jazz. But there is a certain limit to that. There's a certain limit to a redemption arc. And a redemption arc is fantastic, by the way, if handled right. But usually it only works if the character is bad when we first meet them. Moon was this character who, when we first met her at the very beginning of the series, she was just kind of neutral because we didn't know her. But as we started to get to know her, we began to like her and we began to see more of her as a character. She became really awesome, badass even. And when she handed over the kingdom to Eclipsa and started her own little village and stuff, like I was on board for that. And then for this stuff to happen, it just completely destroys her character. It's character assassination, just straight up. It destroys every bit of likability. And then basically we're supposed to just accept that she didn't know this was going to happen, which is again utter bullshit. We're just supposed to forgive her because she has a change of heart within 4 episodes worth of time. If you're going to have a redemption for her at this point, it has to take an entire season, not 4 fucking episodes. That's something that cannot be forgiven in the scope of a single finale. And the fact that it was just forgiven just like that is, again, utter bullshit. I used to love this show. And I think that's why I'm so angry. I think that's why I'm so saddened by this. Because I hate to see any show that I love fall under this. I hate to see any show have this bad of a conclusion to it. It bothers me. I may I may seem like a bit of an over obsessive nerd a lot of the time because of how seriously I take this shit. But you have to understand a couple things here. One, I'll be honest, and I hate to use this as an excuse or anything, but I'm trying to use it more as an explanation. I am autistic. Things matter, certain things will matter to me more than some people would say they should. And they matter to me more than an pretty much any atypical person. Especially in my case, cartoons. Animation is heavily important to me. I take it very seriously. And on top of that, animation literally saved my life from suicide and depression. And while I still have depression, while I've still had a couple suicidal thoughts here and there, I'm nowhere near the level I was in 2013. I have grown. I have become better through this. Animation has saved my life and made me a better person. So yes, I'm going to take it seriously. I was afraid to watch this finale. That's why I had been putting it off so long. Because I had heard that people were disappointed with it. I had heard that it felt rushed. I had heard that it did some nonsensical things. And that it didn't feel like a proper conclusion to this series. And I didn't want to believe it, but at the same time, with everything I had been seeing previously in the season, I was believing it. I didn't want to, but I was, and I was getting worried. I kept putting this off because I didn't want that to end up being true, and I didn't want to subject myself to that. And it was true. It was worse than I could have ever imagined. It felt like a big fuck you to all the fans of this series. It felt like a slap in the face to everyone who grew to love this show and was so invested in it. It felt like the writers made decisions that nobody wanted. Not even them. It felt like it was rushed, like it was a first pass at something, and no actual proofreading or thought was put into it. And it felt like a waste of time. And it makes the series feel like a waste of time. I've always been on the side that an ending cannot ruin a series or make it that much better. But that doesn't mean I don't think endings are important. And I don't think it overall ruined the series. I don't. This series still has a lot of amazing episodes, a lot of amazing moments, some phenomenal character stuff, some great LGBTQ plus representation, some awesome, real, powerful messages on this world and how it connects to reality. All of that still exists. But at the same time, I can't deny that if a series feels like it's building up to something and it goes in a completely different direction and ends in the worst possible way, it's upsetting. And it makes it feel like it's been all for nothing. I'll always have fond memories of this series. I'll always love a lot of what this show did. I always will. But I cannot forgive the creators, the writers, for what they've done here. Because I love this show in general. because I love all this stuff they've done in the past. Because of that, I can't forgive them for ruining it. But it's over. And I'll have plenty of other shows to watch. I'll have plenty of other things to do. But for Star Versus, it's over. And unlike Star, I can't just forgive and forget with this bad of a misstep. No matter how much good there was in the past, sorry about that. No matter how much good there was in the past, this is not just a simple mistake. And it can't just be glossed over. And it sucks because Steven Universe also had an unsatisfactory 5th season ending with no news about a 6th season in sight and only a movie to look forward to that honestly it's hard to look forward to that even. All these amazing shows all ending unsatisfactorily. Hopefully, the others we watch won't. Hopefully, we'll find plenty of more amazing shows, cartoon, anime, whatever else, as time goes on, and those will end well. But for now, there's nothing we can do. So tell me in the comments below what you thought of this finale of Star vs. the Force of Evil, this series finale. Even if you disagree with me, even if you liked it or liked certain parts I despised, please feel free to say something. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,